Well, welcome to this demo of Match by Skill. So this is a program that will save you so much time in creating your events for your quad meets, tries, duels, whatever it is. I know for me as a coach, we usually did quads. So it would take me somewhere around 3 hours to manually create the match. And then usually it was about 45 minutes to handle all the scratches, readjust everything, get everything reprinted off. And it wasn't uncommon for the event to start late, for there just to be a lot of stress. And I didn't get time to spend as a coach. So let me show you Match by Skill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an event, go through the event, show you how quick this match can be set up, and then I'll go back through some of the bells and whistles of the program so you can understand the full thing. So we're going to start with events. Click up here once you log in, create event. We're going to create a new event here. I'm going to create it as demo. We're going to say that it's next week, Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. We're going to save that. And now right here, I'm using this Fairchild Elementary as my test school. This is my home school that I'm doing. It's not really my home school, but I'm adjusting that. We'll add in 3 other teams. So let's see, we got Green Bay. It is by mailing address. So Bayview Middle School, we're going to add them in. Now let's change, it does bring up the coach's information. I'm going to change that so he doesn't get a bunch of test emails. Save that so that it updated that coach. Let's add in, yeah, there we go. Pulaski. We'll add them. Take out Brian's email. Test. And then we'll add in one school. I always liked quads because it was just so much easier to find really quality matches for every wrestler. It was always a concern if you don't have enough to choose from. And we'll add them in. Now, the first thing I'm looking for once I have these coaches in is I'm looking at their last updated roster dates. So I can see I updated my roster as of today, Bayview as of a couple days ago, for Pulaski, but 2019 for Edison. So this is going to prompt me because the coach has not logged in this year, so his roster is not going to be accurate. And so I would call that coach, get them into the system, say, hey, I need your roster updated because we're setting up this match. Now, for the demo purposes, we're just going to assume that it is updated. Now, you can click on all these. I would click on these actually and just check, like, do they have everybody activated? Okay, if they're black over here, it is activated. It'd be white. It unchecked them. Looks like everybody's in there, and a couple inactives for Edison. So whenever I get to the point where I'm talking to the coaches, I'm double checking that they are actually going to be out. Are they injured? What is it? Grades, could be anything. And so now I'm looking down at this basics area. I wanted 2 minimum matches for every wrestler, but I'll give them up to 3 if it gets somebody else up to 2. I'm going to start with 2 level difference. So we have 1 as being the best, 5 as being a beginner. So I'll allow a 3 to wrestle against a 1 if it has to. The system's going to look for the closest as it goes through there. Grade level difference is 2, so I'll allow a 6th grader to go with an 8th grader. Typically, I'm doing a skill level difference of 1, grade level difference of 2. In this case, the number of mats is 2. Actually, we usually have 4 at ours. That is for the amount of rest time. So we'll get that in here. I have all my weights in here. I'm going to save. Now I'm looking here for anybody that has 0 and 1 match counts. I'm going to look at here. It's going to highlight who's possible. Let's see, skill level 3. So they could go against this 6 and a 1. So we'll put that in there. That looks like that'll be fine. Add that with the plus. I'm going to go to G.I. Joe. They have 0 matches. Let's see. They're a 5 to a 3. It's going to be a tough match, but I'll make the call where I can do that. We'll update that. Add them in there. You can see this Thomas over here. He's got 2 matches now because we added those in there. I'm really only concerned mostly about the 0s. We can always look at the 1s, but I'm looking for the 0s. Anybody who has 0 as far as this match count on the right side here. Oh, there's another one. William Nast. I'm going to scroll down. He's 123. So I'm scrolling down to 123. It'll highlight people in there. So I got an 8th grader. It's a skill level of 2. Let's see, an 8th grader, skill level of 2, but who's lighter. Let's see. Oh, here's an 8th grader, but they're teammates. Let's see. 8th grader, teammates. 7th grader with a skill level of 3. That's probably really close. They already have 2 matches, so let's see. We're going to add that one in there. Plus. There we go. Let's see. Anybody else? 0. Hunter Nito down to 128. Scrolling down to 128. Let's see. 8 and a 2 from Bayview. So we're going to look at, let's see. Bayview, teammate. Here's a 128, 8 and a 2. Already has his matches, so we'll give him another one. That's fine. Going down here, 0 again. So 141. And we have a 5 skill level. So we're looking for, let's see if anybody's close. Here's a 4 skill level. Well, here's a 5 that already has their 2, but it's the same school. So we'll do this one who's a visiting school, 7 and a 4. Younger, but a better skill level. That'd be good. Should be a good match. We'll add that one in there. And looks like there's one more 0 here, 185. That might be a weight issue. We're going 185, 8th grader, 5 skill. Let's see, 189. All right, we'll let that Jake Eggert have another match to get that one in there. And we could look at all the ones too, but typically I'm not looking at that. Now, here's match wrestlers. So this is all of the wrestlers. Now, there are match wrestlers below fighting too soon after a match. That's because I added the custom matches. They put them at the end. So they're probably too close. There's not enough rest time. So we'll adjust that. But we can see here's all the matched wrestlers. And the system has scheduled 105. It was probably about 98 matches until we added the custom matches. Now you can see these are going to be too close to each other because this Jack Ward Thomas. So we got to click here and just drag him away. And we'll throw him back here in the upper 60s, see if that's good enough. All right, he's no longer red, so let's scroll back down. We got a Griffin Van Lannen and Ethan Farley, so let's move them up. Get that at the top of the screen and it'll start scrolling for you. Let's put them right there, see if that's good. Okay, no more red there. Let's see. There's Chase and Luke. So we'll, there we go. Let's scroll a little faster once I get to the right spot. Let's just see if that works out there. Oh, we're still too close to somebody, probably on their previous match. Yep, so let's move her down a little bit. A few more rest time. Still too close. There we go. Now we have enough. Let's see. If you wanted to, I can always do a search here. Let's see. We're going to move 110, 104. We just move up a little bit. Does that change it? Looks like it did. It looks like these two, this Delabro and Eggert, are just too close to each other, so we just gotta give them a little bit more rest time here. There we go. You'll move. In the same area. Should be enough rest time then. Ooh, still not enough rest time with 4 mats. All right. All right, warning is gone. Everything's ready. At this point, what I would do is I would go up to here to my reports, go to my score sheet. We're going to print this. I would print this. I have 4 table workers and an announcer, so I'm going to need, yeah, so we'll do that. We're going to do save. We'll save that to the desktop, and then we would print 5 of those. Come back to the other tab. I have coaches score sheet. I know most teams have a couple of coaches. So I'm going to print off, we have 4 teams. So I'm going to print off 8 of these. This is the coaches sheet. Yep, we'll save that also to the desktop. So we'd print 8 of those. Matches by wrestler. This is for my wall, usually for the parents and everything. So I'll print off maybe 4, 6 of those, put them on the doors. So same thing. Save that. I print that from my desktop as well, once I save it to my desktop. And then lastly, wrestler matches. What I would do here is this shows each wrestler and what match number they're wrestling in. So I can tell the kids ahead of time. Sometimes I'll even mark it on their hands. So we'll print this off. We just need 1 for each team. So we really only need 1 copy because each team gets their portion of this report. So, and then you could also download this and, right, I'm going to put it on my desktop. Now I would print off 1 of those and give 1 to each coach, and I am done. So I've just completed that. So I'm not sure how many minutes that was, but that was not a lot of time. I am completely done. If I had to go back and do some scratches, which I would do scratches typically before I added custom matches, because once you scratch things, have the system redo it, it does delete out your custom matches when it refigures out the matches. But I would go to modify match configuration for my scratches, come up here. If there is, let's say there's a group of 2 here that's scratching, you know, Bayview Middle School, there's a couple other ones, and let's say at Edison, there was, these ones are wrestling, right? So then I would simply come down here, click save again. I'm going to regenerate my matches. It does say any custom matches that you added will be lost. That's why I do the custom matches after I know scratches. Hit yes. And now it's refigured everything out. So now we're back to 95 matches. This is where I would look back for my zeros. I got my zeros again that I would add in there and reprint off my reports. So you can see how fast even scratches are. It really just takes you a few minutes. Now, typically I'm not adding these custom matches until after I know the scratches. And so what I'm looking at for what I have found to be the easiest way to create this is I set up the event a couple nights ahead of time. Any potential matches that I can add manually, I write those down just so it's easy for me to remember if I'm looking at it ahead of time. And then I do email coaches of any wrestler that's not getting a match. There's heavyweight that just doesn't have anybody to go against. And I do verify the coach's cell phone information. Why I do that is I call the coaches and text them when they should be on the bus on their way already to verify scratches. That way I can do the scratches while they're on the bus. I can adjust the rosters, regenerate everything, add my custom matches at that point, and then I am done. Now I just need to print off the reports. As those visiting coaches show up, I hand them their reports. Everything's ready to go. I can now coach my team in their warm-ups, give them some last-minute prep, whatever I need to do there. Everything is ready to go. Now, some of the interesting parts of the program, just go through some of this. So preferences, there's a match setup preferences here. What that is you can set up, what is your typical? Do you want 2 matches, 3 as a max, level difference? Typically, maybe you want it as 1 with a grade level difference. Number of mats, we always do 4, and I am not allowing teammates to wrestle teammates. I would save that. And down here, you can adjust what is your typical weight structure. So your criteria, you can change this to whatever you deem necessary. This is what our conference uses as the default. And so you can change any of these to whatever range you want. You just got to include all of the ranges. Another thing up here, when I go to the events area, let's see, I'm going to go to view your events. Let's go to this demo we just did here. So we're going to look at this demo right here, demo. So you can see I can adjust all that in here. You can click on any of these coaches and it'll show the coaches information for that school, show their entire roster, who's active, who's inactive here. We see one inactive there a couple inactives that we did for the demo. And we already showed you most of the things inside this area, but some of the highlights here is you can add anybody, anybody against anybody, even if they have their 3 matches or 4 matches, you can do that. Down here, what I do like is that it does highlight the wrestlers that are within the weight range of this potential wrestler. So if I look at any of these down here, let's say, go down to a 98 pounder, I scroll down, it'll start to highlight wrestlers that are at least in the weight criteria. So it narrows down where I can look as for potentials. I'm usually looking for teammates, skill level, someone who's around that area and around the grade level, as close as I can get it. And sometimes you have to make a judgment call as a coach. And sometimes I've even asked the visiting coach if they thought it was a fine match as well. Anytime that you need to move anyone, in here if you have wrestlers, that have other school events, so they have to get done early or they're not going to show up till late because of band, whatever it is. You can also click on this match, move that around however you want. You did see that if you put it too close to another one of their matches, it will highlight in red. It'll give you a warning, hey, you're not giving this wrestler enough rest time. If you need to delete matches out, you can just click on the little minus symbol here and that will get rid of that match. And typically for planning purposes, so we have 95 matches here. Typically, I'm looking at anywhere from 12 to 15 matches per hour per mat. So if I have, say, 4 mats in this case, I typically think that I can get in 60 matches in 1 hour. So 15 times 4, so 60 matches in an hour. So this event, I'll get 95, so that's about an hour and a half event. So that's plenty within the time. So I might be looking at adding more matches because usually we spend about 2 hours for ours. So I would look at all these zeros and these ones, and I would try to add some more matches to see what would make sense to do that. Now, if I had only 2 mats and I figure I can get 30 matches in an hour, I need to get this down to 60. And so I'm looking at anybody that has 3 matches, I'm going to delete them out. Anybody who's already got some good matches, I might look for the best possible scenario. So if I look at here and I'll scroll down, I'm looking at, okay, a 2 and a 1, a 3 and a 4, 3 and a 4, 5 and a 5. Now, obviously, the ones that are 5 and 5, those are the best because they are the exact skill level. A 1 and 1, 4 and 4, 5 and 5. And so I'm looking for those. If there's anything if I had it as a skill level 2 difference that I would allow, those would be the first ones I get rid of. In this case, I might be looking for, is there any of the larger weight gaps in here? And so I'd be looking at that. Did I have a 2 and a 2, or a 2 and a 3 or a 4 and a 5, but they have a larger weight difference than somebody else that they could be up against? So I could look at those things. But essentially, this takes care of everything you need for your matches. I think what it does is it allows schools to invite enough schools to their events so that they have a large enough pool of wrestlers to get good matches, to get a lot of these same skill level matches, without it adding a ton of time to you as the coach. I think the other thing is it is an element of, hey, I didn't schedule this match. I've had in the past where there was a parent who thought we were purposely trying to get it so that his child would lose. That was not the case. I can say that I'm using the program. The program set it up this way. This is the best matches that came up. This is based off of how the coaches rank their skill level. And so we don't have necessarily control over that except for our own kids. And so it takes out some of maybe that liability, or maybe there's a safety concern here. But usually you can figure out that these are the best matches and you're not going to have an issue with it. Other advantages is it just gets done. Everything gets done on time. Now, coaches who are not in the system, if you have a visiting coach that's not in the system, they can have a free account. The free account allows them to adjust a roster and keep a roster so that you can use it. Now, if for some reason they're not responding, you could actually sign them up for a free account. Use their email address, put in the password that you would like to log into their information with, and you can do that. Now, if they're not in the system and you actually invite them into the system, they will get an email. So if let's say we let's see. Alaska doesn't have very many schools that use it. So let's say we're inviting a school from Alaska. I'm just gonna choose one here. Yeah, we're gonna add them in. Now they have nothing in the system. What's gonna happen is they're gonna get an invite. So if you put in their information, they will get an invite. That invite will have a link to it where it can directly bring them into a roster, and they can add in a roster, and they will be offered to sign up for a free account. So anything that you need there, if you need any help, please let me know. But that is the system. Very fast, very easy to do. Definitely a lot less time than hours and hours that I had spent trying to manually put wrestlers together and then have to deal with the scratches. So good luck, coach, to your season. If you have any questions, let us know.